It's Miles.
It's Trouble.
It's the Make It Make Sense podcast.
Yay.
Oh, I just want to say from the Make It Make Sense podcast, we're all happy here. It's Trump's America. We won, right?
See, man, I knew we was going to have some of this kind of discussion, but he playing.
Man, so I'm going to ask you this. Are you surprised?
No.
Me neither. Me neither. I am surprised it was such a landslide, but I'm not. I was saying, even when we were talking about the earshot thing, I was like, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I didn't think it was going to be that severe, though.
Honestly, we can go down a list of a lot of different things that might, sound conspiracy theorists.
Not on this podcast?
Right. But at the same time, like, just looking at reality, looking at America as a whole, Obama went through a lot being a black president as a black male.
Yeah.
I did not see America being ready for a black woman as president. Second off, there wasn't a strong realization of exactly what she was up against by Kamala Harris and her team. It didn't feel like they almost took it as a joke, like, we'll beat Trump.
Oh, you think so? They were super like cocky with it?
I mean, having Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion coming out, that doesn't show that you really taking it seriously.
But the Republican side did have like Hulk Hogan and Kid Rock and shit too.
They can do that. Look at who's representing them. They have an entertainer who's representing their whole party. So that's still somewhat it still somewhat tracks as to how that can happen. Yeah. He's done this before on his first run where he just did a whole bunch of wild shenanigans, but it drew people in. That's just the current state of America. You rich, you got money, people have a higher tendency to listen. Yeah. He already had a big following from years and years and years ago.
From being basically on The Apprentice and all that, like
even
TV
before
stuff.
That, just being rich.
Being rich, yeah. He would boxing. Yeah, he's been kind of ingrained in a lot of, definitely in a lot of like male culture. Like I remember seeing him at like Mike Tyson fights, Trump Plaza or whatever it was. Like he was in the UFC and all. So he's kind of been around the quote unquote common man for a while. And then he did the show, which I think probably branched him into like housewife territory and that type of thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've had a Ronald Reagan before. He was an actor before he was a president.
I don't think a lot of people know that. It's probably at least around our age.
I learned that recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
He was a cowboy, like actor.
Actor. Kind of like how we were talking about the guy who was the president of Ukraine. Who?
Was like a comedian.
He was an actor in a show. Yeah, and the show was a show about a teacher that accidentally becomes the president of Ukraine.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Dude.
You know who directed it?
Who?
Him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Fact. That's crazy.
So, nonetheless.
Simulation, man.
Nonetheless. Like, so we have had an actor here in America that became president. You have Trump, who is entertainer, for lack of better words. Yeah. Who's already been president. So him doing it again is something that we've already seen before. People tend to cling to things that they have some semblance of. Like, even if it's like, I think almost everybody who was voting was really like, these are the lesser of two evils. Yeah.
That was like, the main narrative.
Yeah, exactly. Which one is it? I don't like either one of them like that, but at least I'll get this out of that presidency. Yeah. And I just think that we have gotten too accustomed to doing that as people, as opposed to just saying, well, if neither one of them deserve our vote, why are we voting for them? Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's the power of the vote. And then you have people who are like, oh, well, not enough of us voted. The Electoral College is the wildest thing in the world.
Yeah, that's interesting how that works, yeah.
And it's like, when you talk about all of these little nuances, where a presidential candidate really only has to win a certain amount of states to pretty much guarantee the election.
That's real. That's exactly what it is.
To me, it's not shocking that he would win because most of the states that, we would expect to vote for him are the states that happen to be the swing states or the states that are the highest, have the highest number.
Like electoral votes.
Yeah, electoral votes. I couldn't think of the proper way to say it.
Yep.
So...
And he annihilated those. Like Florida's a swing state. I think Texas is.
But the swing states change.
No, they're used. Well, I think that's the point of a swing state is it swings back and forth. So I think Florida last year was Democrat, but before that we were basically whoever wins, that's the side we swung.
But I heard that they're gonna be counting something else as the swing state next election.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I have. I don't know.
Maybe I'm. But still, it's just like the fact that that's the case.
Yeah.
Is it really a fair race?
I mean, I think
it never has been.
I think all the other candidates that ran would say it's not fair. They're like, well, you didn't even know we were on the ballot. How's that fair?
I mean, but when you do like Robert Kennedy Jr. and decide to link up with Trump, that always happens too.
Yeah.
I just feel like people don't stick to their guns. They saying he's supposed to have a big role in the healthcare system. But I didn't necessarily say I wanted that. Right. I would have liked to hear him have more of a stance on what he could have did as president.
Yeah.
Cool. But
yeah.
Now you over to health? I don't know.
Well, I think he was, and I'm not an RFK expert. I kind of got a crash course in him over the past year or two because he wanted to run for president. But essentially, he was a whistleblower for a while on just the harmful stuff in food. That's a very dumb explanation of what he did, but that's the basic of what he did. So
yeah, he also spoke about the assassination of his father.
Yeah,
and that being actually set up.
Yeah,
and it wasn't.
He's very vocal about that.
Yeah,
and that's interesting that he's in the office now. So it makes me wonder because Trump. By the way, being on a lot of popular podcasts talking about this, which is why I think he won. But he did say on there that he was ready. He pretty much is ready to release it. But the only reason he isn't is because some of the people are still alive that were involved, which most people hear that and they go, oh, well, that's people in the government that are actually involved or still alive still. So that's why. So then what's that all about? That opens up a whole lot of questions about why are we protecting these government people? What did they do? What was their part?
That's the part that gets me. This is the part that loses me when we always talk about, oh, this person cares about us. But they always seem to protect the people who did some of the most harmful things that affect us.
And they say they're doing it for our protection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're doing it for your protection because this person probably going to come out with another bombshell that now directly comes back to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree. And I think kind of going back to him winning, like the podcast thing, I think I'm hearing very few people mention this. And there are other factors like Biden basically getting kicked out and they're putting her in. And it's like, how is that a thing that you can do? How can you just sub out the person that's running for presidency that all these people financially backed? That's a weird thing in itself. But then Trump going and doing all the big, pretty big podcasts. Now, I know, is it Kamala? What's the correct way?
Honestly, I'm thinking it's
okay. I don't feel bad then. I think but
I'm sorry if it's not.
I don't think everybody kind of guesses, but she did do some podcasts. Like I guess the biggest one she did was Call Her Daddy, which I don't listen to, so I don't really know about them. She did, I think maybe the Breakfast Club, which is Breakfast Club is pretty fucking big, but it's very niche demographic, right? Whereas Trump did Rogan, he did a lot of these comedy podcasts that are funny thing I didn't know about that. Charlemagne said that the number one podcast for black men is Rogan. if you look at the analytics, which is fucking shocking to me. I didn't even realize that. But Trump went on there. Trump went on there for 3 hours straight and did multiple podcasts for 2 to 3 hours just talking. And that was the game changer. That was the thing that I don't think the Democratic side either they didn't realize that it was worth it, or they just, like you said, they just didn't really try. And that, but I think that was I think that's what made it a landslide, in my opinion. It has to be.
I mean, that definitely can play a big role. I think that also you got to look at who runs certain platforms. You can pretty much guess who they might be voting for anyway.
Sure, yeah.
And if you already got a huge following that already, is very persuasive, or who is very persuaded by, your thoughts and beliefs, it can help for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that also looking at it, Kamala Harris's biggest issue for me personally was that I felt like she was trying to represent something that she necessarily wasn't. Yeah. Like she was trying to represent a strong Black woman presence and I'm not saying she's not a strong woman, but that's not your character, this character that you were trying to portray. Right. Yeah. So this leads to you bringing out a Megan Thee Stallion and a Cardi B and all of the grown Black women who are like, what the hell?
Right. But big miscalculation.
They still want to vote for you because, Yeah. But I think that not having that, whether you like Trump or not, he gonna be himself when he on that podcast. He gonna say that shit, and it is what it is. And that alone is what a lot of people are craving. People want a reality. People want a reality check. Whether I agree with him in general or not is just beside the point. Right. The reality is people are tired of all of the bullshit. People are tired of all of the filler busters and all of this kind of stuff where you intentionally stall movement, you intentionally stall plans and things from being instilled for hours and days and weeks and years by literally going to meetings and saying a bunch of nonsense.
Bunch of shit to fill in time. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like this is a thing?
And people are tired of hearing bullshit. They don't want to hear filler. They don't want to hear bureaucracy. They want to know, who is this person? And I truly, truly, truly wish that she would have done the same thing. I wanted to hear her talk. Like, I want to know who she is. Because, policy this, policy that. But really, I mean, if I listen to her as a human being, and do I go, I can get behind her. Do I think she's going to do everything she says? I don't think any president ever will and ever has done everything they're going to say. But it's like, give me an opportunity to know who you are. And I don't think that they understood that. I don't think the Democratic side understood that that's what the people really want, but they sure as fuck know now.
I don't think the Republican Party really knew that that's what people wanted. I just think
they were probably shocked too.
We're at a crossroads. We've been talking about the age of Aquarius and the time of upheaval and information at the time of information and all of this. This is why people are at that point to where they just want something so much, so new, so bad, they're willing to go almost any route as long as they feel like it's something new. And again, like, I don't agree with a lot of the things that he said or done, but at the same time, I'm aware that it's impossible to fight against that with bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
people
accepted his bullshit.
Yeah.
So you can't now come try to be this almost clean, perfect person.
Like this character.
When they've already accepted somebody who's a damn felon to be their president. If they're willing to accept that, then you gotta come real.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you need to be a felon too, but what I'm saying is
be the real you.
Yeah, if people have already made it clear that they're willing to at least accept that and move past that, they're willing to listen to him say on camera, if you got enough money, you just grab her by the pussy. And she's not gonna, and they heard this and they still said he's worthy of presidency. If they are willing to do that and they can move past all of that, how the hell do you think you finna woo people, enough people to vote for you by being somebody that they can paint as fake.
Right. And that layer that on top of now this could all be narrative that was layered on it, but it seemed like whenever I came across her that I never heard her talk too much about what she was going to do. It seemed like a lot of word spaghetti when she was talking, and that does matter. I mean, there is it is a popularity contest and all that too, but if you can just sit there and say this is what you want to do, then there's just a lot of things she didn't do to get anybody that was not anybody, but a lot of people that were voting for her were either voting because it doesn't matter who the candidate is as long as they're Democratic, or they do not want to vote for Trump. So they'll vote for the other side. But I don't think anybody was riveted. I should say, I don't think the majority of people were riveted to be like, I'm getting her because she stands for everything that I want. Because I don't think she even explained herself correctly.
Well, I think that she did lay out a couple of plans that sounded great. Mm-hmm. But like you said, having a full infrastructure laid out as to how you're going to execute these plans matter. Mm-hmm. Now, I know a lot of people who, if I say that, they'd be like, well, Trump doesn't explain anything. He doesn't have infrastructure.
They will say he talks in circles too.
And he does. Mm-hmm. But the thing that he
just claims things and be like, just
that
in the moment.
That's the thing, though. He's learned, hell, they're going to believe it anyway. Like Trump literally sat on a national TV on a talk show back in, I think it was 91, and he said, if I ever ran for presidency, I would run as a Republican because those people will believe anything they see on Fox.
Dude, he was on, I think that was on Oprah when he said that.
He says this publicly all of these years later. So he's aware that he can say, you don't like immigrants? We'll get rid of them. We'll get rid of them.
That's a pretty good Trump.
Like, and it's like, it's really hard to comprehend the amount of people you're talking about getting rid of, and how much infrastructure will have to be replaced if you just get rid of all of these people. Yeah. These same people that all of these rich people swear that they're trying to get rid of so bad, the same people that they use to build all of their community.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So I make it make sense, but he understands that.
Of course.
He just knows that if he doesn't say anything, people are going to be on his ass. And he knows that if he says the wrong thing, people are going to be on his ass.
Yeah.
So he knows, hell, I got a better chance of just lying and then telling them we're working on it.
Yeah. He understands how the whole machine works too. He knows everything's going to get bitten up one direction or the other, so he doesn't care. He
also knows exactly. He knows not to play the game.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. She tried to play a role,
and it was so obvious,
so transparent.
Yeah,
even if she meant 99% of what she said, because the appearance can be so easily placed on her being disingenuous, it would automatically cause some of a rift for people who are already 90% leaning the opposite direction of her. Anyways, it's not no swaying them now.
Yeah,
once they realize they think that you aren't real.
Yeah. And the crazy thing was that if you look at the debate, I think they only did one debate. I could be wrong, but I think they did one debate and she looked great.
She smashed him. He said, I'm not doing this no more.
Yeah. What the fuck happened? Like it was everything past that failed.
Again, he didn't play the game.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
He said, shit, we keep doing this, I might really lose. We're not doing it no more. Yeah. People don't care. About the way that the politics have been set up for years. Yeah. People don't care. So they didn't. If this would have happened in the 80s where a president just said, nah, I'm not going to debate no more. What?
Yeah.
But in this era, people don't care. People are like, he doesn't deserve to debate anymore. Yeah. You have bots online that you can pay people to go online and support you even though you just did something stupid. And you get enough of that. People have the bystander effect where they're waiting on somebody else to do something about it. And people naturally like to follow the lead of other people. So they'll just follow the
herd mentality.
It's
It is, but it's crazy. It's and to kind of before we veer off of this, there was here in Florida where we are, beautiful, sunny, awesome Florida. I love Florida, but we got some weird decisions that were made on these amendments that happened here. Well, there's some we want to talk about. One that stood out. I mean, you got the women's rights, the abortion thing was wild, but Also, the Amendment 3, right? Was that with the weed amendment? Like, for people that aren't in Florida, or explain this and make that make sense to me.
Like, basically, from what I understand, is Amendment 3 was gonna make marijuana recreationally legal.
So if you get pulled over with it, it ain't no thing. It doesn't matter anymore.
Correct.
Okay. Is it pretty much like liquor, like alcohol? You can't have like a smoldering blunt, but if you have, okay, got it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that was gonna also, I believe, to my knowledge, take THC off of the list of things that they test you for jobs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
So I think that was deep down a big part of why people wanted it, because it's like, hey, we can smoke, we can live our lives, we can finally get the people off our back.
Everybody's doing it anyways, and everything's working fucking fine.
Kinda. I think that,
I mean, smoking weed and doing their job, I mean.
But that's the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
I've realized that, like, there's a lot of people who will never get certain jobs and they could absolutely be qualified for.
Sure.
And people would be like, well, just stop smoking. And it's like, I get that.
Sure.
But shit, you don't not drink coffee.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up and drink coffee every morning, or you'll freak the fuck out.
And everybody's on fucking Prozac and Xanax. Don't take that then, Mr. Efficiency.
That part.
You know?
But this person smokes a blunt or a joint before they come to work and don't smoke again until the end of the 8 to 10 hour shift. But somehow you look at them as some type of drug addict or something.
Yeah. I have a very weird stance with drugs in general. It's not a popular stance. I feel like people just do whatever drugs you need to do. As long as you're a decent person, whatever keeps you balanced, do it up. But that's, if it's destroying your life, don't. And it's really that black and white thing.
They gonna destroy your shit regardless. But
yeah, I mean, there's probably some very productive meth heads.
Yeah, meth is a fine line, but they're not. They productive, but they're not.
That they'll take that computer apart in 3 seconds and turn it into a fucking robot.
Yeah,
I can't do that without.
I mean, but I'm just saying that don't mean they necessarily living healthy lives.
No, their body's wrecked. But you know,
exactly. I done seen crack turn some people into some. My point.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is, though, like, well, I do agree though that like certain things really shouldn't be such a big deal.
I won that argument.
Function. Yeah, but I just think that, you know, like, it's an ironic thing that we are so far in the future, and we can look back and know that weed was only banned in the 60s. When Nixon was in office. And he basically, on paperwork, it's the Watergate. You can look up the PDF where it's literally the manuscript of him talking, and he's saying that he needs weed to be a bad thing for everybody because the blacks and the Jews are starting to become friends.
Oh, yeah.
And the whites and everybody, they're becoming friends. And he was like, what the hell is wrong with them? Like, they're not supposed to like each other, and everybody likes Mexicans now?
Yeah.
Like, he's mad about that shit. That's literally where the term marijuana came from. Literally, Nixon was like, we got to find a way to make this thing bad. And nobody likes Mexicans anyway, so let's call it marijuana. I'm not even joking. Like, let's call it marijuana and tell them it comes
from Mexican term.
Literally, let's make it sound like it came from Mexico.
Oh man!
And people really bought into that because the original name, you know, is cannabis.
Cannabis, yeah.
So they learned all that. So they actually have this dialogue with him and his doctor, where the doctor's like, "Look, we've done every test we can. We don't know how to tell people this is bad." He's like, "Just lie." Like, we have the paperwork.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's in black and fucking white, but yet you're telling me we just can't get any leeway on it.
Let me ask you, not to divert off of it, but just something to think about and maybe check the timeline. Isn't that the same time LSD was introduced?
I believe.
Or pretty close.
Like MK Ultra was around that time, yeah.
Started hitting San Francisco, started getting in, and I wonder if that was, I mean, it's already, there's things out there that kind of lean towards that was released out, kind of just like how other things
it was a
released.
part of the MK Ultra thing. Like, it's a part of the where they created LSD to try to tap into different parts of the human brain for this, like, basically it's like they were trying to create a super soldier syndrome, serum, excuse me. And they were trying to see if it could tap into different parts of their brain that made them not feel pain and things like that. They were inspired by the Battle of Blitzkrieg. Where they found out that all of the Germans was over there on meth. And they was staying up for days and days and days
Hitler
just
was
marching.
And Hitler was just doing it for fun. He didn't even have to take the shit. You ever seen that shit when he's in the Olympics, losing his mind?
I think so, yeah.
He's just like fucking, run, motherfucker. He's losing his shit.
Yeah, it's wild to see, bro. But again, it kind of makes sense why this motherfucker was so...
Well... Yeah. But my point was that I wonder if that was put out around them. My brain's just trying to think, was that like a disruptor? Like they tried to take the weed away and put like this psychoactive thing out there to maybe disrupt the peace that was happening. I mean, I could be completely off.
Yeah, no, I mean, disrupting the peace was definitely a part of the reason that weed was a bad thing. They made it clear that hippies were very, very scary to them. Because you have...
Which is insane to think. Yeah.
But because you have young white people...
threatening to them.
Because you have young white people who are like, hey, why do we hate these people? Hey, why don't we come talk? Why don't we all just come love? Oh, God, I have this ability. I have this access to this and this and this due to my family. Now you have access. Because you're actually a good person.
You're just a person.
This is like now in the government, this is a problem. Like, it's like literally like what the hell? Like Nixon had a huge problem with the hippies. And this was in writing. Like he's like, we gotta do something about this.
Yeah. Nixon was a mess, man. The Bohemian Grove like quotes.
Now, that's
and shit.
Crazy. Yeah. I can't even repeat what
I think we did it once before and we can't do it again. But But anyway, so Amendment 3, we're kind of recapping how old and archaic and ridiculous the stigma on weed is. And here we are in 2024. We go to the polls, we vote, and we still can't get it right.
I just think that so many people are still so easily swayed. Like I was looking at the propaganda for the vote no on Amendment 3. And oh my God, the stuff I was saying, like you had like a sheriff, he is like the number one drug found whenever we're dealing with domestic violence cases tend to be related to cannabis.
All right.
Tend to be related to.
Like, tend to be related.
Or you find cannabis at the scene. Like, that don't mean...
He ain't talking about the mistress that tend to be related in the argument, possibly, or the abuse, or possibly just the overall stress of being in a relationship. It's that weed, man. That's what it is.
Weed of anything. Somebody finna smoke this butt and slap the hell out
of it. You know what? I'm not a weed guy, but I swear none of my most crazy moments they never were because I was high. Ever. And I ain't like,
and if you did, you attacked the fridge or went and laid the fuck down somewhere. Like, it's trippy because I will say this though. Side note. I was watching this like podcast that Neil deGrasse Tyson has, and he was actually talking about weed and why it has the kind of stigma it has and what exactly it does for the human body. Is there any positive, anything like that? And he was talking to this lady that specializes in studying how THC reacts to the brain and what. So we have THC naturally in our bloodstream. Like,
which I didn't know until you told me that. I had no idea.
Yeah, remember we looked at the endocannabinoid system and
the receptors? Yeah.
So she was talking about how people with weed are similar to like people with alcohol. How somebody can take one drink and they're now messed up, and then somebody else can take 550 drinks and they straight as hell. Like she was talking about because it metabolizes different in the body.
Okay.
So they learned that weed and the receptors that everybody has is different. Yeah. Some people are more hardwired to handle higher levels and higher dosages of THC without it overwhelming their receptors, their brain, or any of their motor functions like that. I.e., maybe me and Chip, how we can smoke a whole bunch and go play a game of basketball, for hours,
which sounds crazy to me. Yeah,
but yeah, exactly. But it would probably be like,
yeah, game over.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm definitely not hooping.
Yeah.
So that though, it just the body can metabolize it differently.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Okay, I mean that makes sense. Complete sense.
So I say that to say that I think some people, they do, take it different than other people. It might not kick their ass as bad as somebody else. So they might still have enough energy to do something stupid. But it's not the weed causing them to do that.
No, I don't.
Liquor has definitely caused way more people to do some shit that in their complete right mind they would have never done than I've ever heard of weed.
Yeah, I don't think there's any case where someone has a weed effect when they get super drunk. I've
never seen a person go to work. And I ain't never seen nobody do this for alcohol like that either. But I've never seen a person go to work or go somewhere and steal some shit to go sell it just to buy some weed.
Right.
Like harder drugs, yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's like people can take those and still
I've been around people that would steal stuff, but I think they would steal it to get anything they wanted in general. But weed,
so they were kleptos, but
I don't know. They made a conscious choice to steal to get weed. Yeah.
Damn, they was down bad. I lied.
But my point is, I think they would steal to get anything they wanted. I don't think it's. But unlike super addictive stuff like pills or the crack, the stuff that's really heroin, the shit that really takes you over. Nothing like that at that level. No. Okay. No.
Know what I'm saying? So it's like you look at some of the other propaganda where they're like, a lot of the car crashes are directly related to cannabis.
I don't know about directly related. I could see wrecking when you're high, but I
don't know that many. Like I know people who done dumb shit while they high, but most of the time you're going way slower than the speed limit anyway.
And also, they're really pulling for any statistic they can find.
But that's they're not even giving actual statistics, though.
Oh, they're just saying it.
Yeah, they're not saying, out of the last 300 accidents, 275 of them were intoxicated on marijuana.
They're like, trust me, it happens.
Come on, bro. That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And again, I think that there are people who do get into accidents when they're really high because they can't handle it and they shouldn't be driving.
Well, what's that statistic next to people looking down at their cell phone then?
That's my point. What's that statistic compared to alcohol?
Yeah.
Alcohol is not illegal.
Right? Yeah. And none of it makes sense. None of that makes sense.
I think it's just a money thing. I think that there's still a lot of money that goes into
being able to get a license.
That whole thing, whole process. Prime example, say you get pulled over, say you lose your license. Say now you trying to go get a job. You need a license. You're going to need your ID. You go get your license back. You pay for that to get reinstated. You come back. Now you got to go take this drug test. The company pays the drug test people to go do the drug test. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So now they're getting money that way. You go take this drug test. Say you don't pass. Now, boom, you don't have a job. You just spent this money. It all come all the way back around. But now you can't go take care of what you need to take care of.
Right.
You would have to go. I ain't gonna necessarily say on camera what you should do in order if you ever have that issue, but you got to now jump through all of these hoops and have all of these hardships because you smoke weed. Meanwhile, somebody can be doing coke, and because it washed out of their system in 24 hours, they don't even have to worry about it. They just don't have to do it for a day, and they get the job.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Or it used to be you could do coke, you could drink, you could even do acid or LSD because the shit is in your hair. You don't find it in your piss. So there was, dude, it's obviously, and I agree with you, I think it's a direct attack on weed. And I just don't fully understand it. But I do understand, I think it's 100% a money thing. My theory was...
I don't think it's 100% a money thing.
No?
But I think it's a big part.
Okay, yeah.
But I think it's a spiritual thing too.
Okay, hold that thought. What do you think about that? Maybe it's the money side of it is because you put these hurdles in front of people to where they're going to go get a license. They're going to go, if you make it so easy, it's a no-brainer. Okay, you're going to go pay to see this doctor. You're going to pay to get this license. You're going to go to the the dispensaries and pay to get it. All of it's getting taxed. All of it's getting tracked. All of it's getting controlled. When you decriminalize it, I'm gonna get it from the cheapest. I don't need to go to these dispensaries, all these things that popped up and built. They're gonna lose a lot of revenue because people are gonna go to the streets and get it. And then if it's cheaper and dependable.
Well, kinda. People in the streets can't sell it for too much cheaper, because they sell it for pretty cheap in some of these dispensaries. They'll have deals and stuff like that.
Okay.
And you know how people are. People like to spend money, or like to have the idea of having money. So I spent $50 on this eighth.
Oh,
people do that still.
Sure.
I think that the money side of it, though, is really just, like you say, unilateral control. You just want control of all of it because it's so much money.
When you boil it down.
And the longer you make it wait, the more people answer it up. And as much as they keep talking about, no, they still have these damn dispensaries just popping up left and right and left and right and left and right. How they getting all this damn weed, but it's so illegal?
Yeah, that's a great question.
But at the same time, the people who smoke, they're not mad, because obviously, if it was so damaging and so bad, there's no way that you would have all these people who can go buy weed.
Yeah.
It's just such a contradictory thing, but I just feel like that's my point. It's not just a money thing. It's also kind of a physical battle thing, a spiritual battle thing. I think that in two veins, with the drug test situation, you're automatically weeding out a certain demographic of people naturally when you're talking about this. Like, we ain't even gotta dive that far into it. It's clear to see. That's generally the quote unquote drug of choice for most African Americans.
Yeah.
We have to say that, we do I know black people that do other drugs, things like that. But generally speaking, those other drugs wash out quick, whatever, but weed is the thing that sits in your body for the longest.
Right.
It also is against any type of health science logic, because the body gets rid of things that it doesn't need or doesn't want. Why does it keep weed or THC in the system for so long?
That's an interesting perspective, and I never thought about that. Wow.
So again, if you already naturally have THC in your body, how is it illegal to have a higher level of it in your own body, even though it's already naturally there?
Yeah. No matter how you slice it, it doesn't make sense.
So that's why I think it's a multiple layered battle. I think that, again, we've all been hearing the joke since forever that there probably wouldn't be so much war if everybody can just sit down and smoke a joint.
Right.
There's people who don't smoke weed at all who have said this.
Sure.
Expressed this sentiment.
Yeah.
Why do they feel like that? Why does it, no matter how much it's criminalized, have a natural docile energy? Everybody associates people with calming down when they smoke weed.
Yeah. 100%.
But it's so bad.
Yeah.
You can't, you know what I mean? But I think that is the problem. You get a lot of people to calm down. You get a lot of people to start thinking a little bit deeper, start tapping back into their roots. I think that cannabis originally isn't from this planet. There's a lot of deep studies done by the Dogons that show that they were the first people on like record to like just be smoking weed openly. And the term cannabis comes from Canis Major, the star system that's up there. And it's called the dog star. Because it's apparently one star you can see, another star you can't see. Even though these stars are so far away, you can't see them with your naked eye. So it trips the people who find this out. Like, how the hell did y'all even know this existed? And they were the first people to tell society, like, nah, there's another star up there right behind that other star. You just can't see it.
Wow.
And nobody believed it. And it took, I think, another like almost 500, 600 years for somebody to actually prove it.
Damn. You got to roll up that Anunnaki to see that shit?
Right. You got to roll up that space dust, nigga. Like, but they talked about cannabis coming from the beings called the domos that came down from the Sirius star system.
So it was seeded here in our soil?
Yes, and it was created for that purpose of helping us tap into different parts of our psyche.
Oh, damn. I like that.
Now, this is said by them, not me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that this is why in certain parts of the world it's extra banned, like the Middle East, things like that. Because you back over there in your old roots and you smoking over there, that shit gonna hit different. You might fuck around and unlock the pyramids again, goddamn. The boys just start powering up.
Oh, man.
So, yeah.
When we go to Egypt, I'm going to sneak in an edible. And you're gonna eat that shit. We're gonna walk into the Giza.
Don't you say that shit on camera? They gonna whoop our ass.
This is a comedy podcast. We're just joking. It's all jokes. I'm a poor man in Florida. I'll never make it to Egypt. Don't worry.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah,
but it's hypothetically.
Yeah,
if I could have an edible.
Let's go down that road anyways. Let's do it. Yeah.
Because it's hypothetical,
It is hypothetical, yes.
If I have a edible or I have multiple edibles in Egypt where I can get high while I'm there, I really feel like I'd find some shit that like, nigga, hey, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like
we goddamn mummy in there when you walk in there.
For real. Shit gonna start moving. What the hell is going on? Like, cause we talk about aura is a thing. I feel like me being high over there, people will kind of feel that shit. Like something is definitely different about that guy.
Yeah. It won't be the super stone dude with the donut hat on. That it won't be the black dude. No, that won't be it. They'll be like,
no, it's a lot of tourists over there.
Actually, most motherfuckers look black over there too. Egyptians are basically
look like you, nigga.
Black, dark me, the end of summer me.
They look like you. You throw a turban on your ass, boy.
Honestly, I do. I get asked all the time by every convenience store dude, not to make it sound like they're only in convenience stores.
You hear that, y'all convenience store guy?
But that's my experience, and I own it.
But you know what I learned?
What?
A lot of them, I don't even know if they might whoop my ass me telling them this shit. A lot of them are not like from like Pakistan or Iraq.
Oh, they'll beat your ass with a loafer. Don't say that shit.
No, a lot of them are from North Africa.
Oh, yeah. I
learned that. Like a lot of the ones that we be thinking are like from the Middle East. They're like, nah, we from Africa.
Or you mean South Africa?
No, North Africa. They told me, one of the homies told me that itself. Like we call him what we call him, and he kind of laughed and he was like, I'm not from nowhere over there. Like,
that's interesting. Oh, that might make sense because I know South Africans and they're like my tone. We all, like when you look like me, and I guess apparently South Africans, you look very ambiguous. You could be Hispanic, you could be mixed, which no one thinks that part, but you could be Indian. But South Africans actually, a lot of them are white, which is surprising.
The Dutch invaders is why a lot of them are white.
Yeah, but. Did you have any more on that thought? Because you made me think about something.
No. Okay, I was just saying.
So you're talking about that Anunnaki strain, right?
Yeah.
So we had these UFO. We had another UFO meeting in Congress, I guess Capitol Hill. And previously, if no one's aware of it, they did it, and they had Grush, I think, was there, and a few other people. And that was maybe 6-7-ish months ago, and it got a little bit of coverage. So now there's a new guy that came through named Luis Alessandro. And I guess he wrote a book about this, but he made it all the way up to Congress and said a bunch of the stuff that we kind of heard before. So it wasn't a lot of like ground. And of course, they can never say shit. Usually it's like, we got to go to a skiff and I'll give you this. And they beat around the bush. But he said one thing that stood out that I've never heard any of them say, at least I haven't heard him say before, was that he goes, what did he say? I don't want to misquote him. He said, U.S. government employees have been injured by these things, these UAPs, and then they do trash retrieval after it, and that program is real. And they were kind of questioning him about, well, how do you know it's real? And he's like, well, they've already kind of came out and said that already. So if it's fake, why are they spending money on it? Which was a good question. But the thing that stood out was the fact that he said that there's been multiple reports of government, basically, I would assume pilots or something getting injured by these things. So what do you think that's, when I hear that, I go, I'm guessing we're provoking, we're like the antagonist in this, and we're probably coming towards them, and possibly they're defending themselves, but there's no, at least in this meeting, he didn't expound on if it was an attack or defense or what was going on. But that was something I never heard anybody mention before, is they're actually getting hurt. We're getting hurt.
Yeah, well, so I take it that you've never heard of the Dolce Wars before.
Nope.
Okay, so the Dolce Wars has more of a grand name than what it actually was. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a war, but this has actually been well documented. At this point, it's almost virtually impossible to refute that this happened. Bob Lazarus came out and talked about it. The dude Phil Schneider, who we've talked about in earlier episodes, he's talked about it. It's been mentioned multiple times.
Oh, Bob so I'm late to the party then.
Yeah, and Bob Lazar didn't see it himself, so he didn't say that, but he's aware of the story. At least, what he heard. Yeah. But long story short, there was a spot in New Mexico called Dolce, New Mexico. I actually first heard the story from one of my cousins years before I ever and it's one of my hoodest cousins I ever had. He was like, man, you don't know shit about ETs, nigga. You don't know nothing about no goddamn Dolce Wars. And I was like, man, what is you talking about? Because I thought I kind of knew, some shit. And he said this.
Damn, he dropped the Dolce on you. God.
Yeah, so I mean, this was some years ago, and he was just like, he told me about it. Years later, I hear more and more about it. I do my own research, and basically in Dolce, New Mexico, there was this underground base where they had extraterrestrials that was working hand in hand with humans, like doing different tasks, building different things.
Hold on, New Mexico meaning next to Roswell?
Yeah, New Mexico.
Okay, interesting. Okay. All right.
So it's no coincidence that this is in the same area. And it's also no coincidence that they do a lot of stuff in the valley, because it's such an open area. It's easy to cover up things, and it's easier to go underground in a lot of these dry areas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
Trying to go underground over here where we're damn near below sea level.
Right. Yeah.
So, basically there was supposedly a day where there was an extraterrestrial doing something in the area. He kind of gave the cue, they said, can't nobody come in this area, whatever. A guy, being oblivious, I guess, came in the area, and they were dealing with some type of magnetism or whatever. And
he flew into the area, you mean?
No, these are people in a base underground.
Oh, okay, got it.
And these extraterrestrials are underground. And these people are working with them, but there's an area that they're doing something. Okay. And apparently it was just like, hey, off limits, can't nobody go in there, especially not with no firearms. So
just aliens told them this.
Apparently this was just the aliens told whoever was in charge.
Everybody should have known.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
This particular individual, they say, went over there anyways. His gun goes off. It accidentally, I guess, because they were dealing with some type of magnetism, whatever, it made his gun fire. And it grazed the alien or shot the alien or whatever. And the alien gets pissed, of course, and then attacks him. And then the other people who are there are like, what do we do? So they start shooting. They end up shooting that alien. The other aliens that are working there are like, what the fuck? They're trying to kill us? And it turns into this mini massacre where pretty much we lost.
Wow. So these weren't big head, skinny arm aliens where we could just punch them in their big ass head and knock them out. It was over.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. Damn. So that was kind of like one of those stories that after they got the situation under control is like, holy shit. They're
like, look, my bad.
It's like stories like that, you don't want to tell people about because it shows signs of weakness. Yeah. It shows, hey,
weakness and a threat.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just you're dealing with a mass amount of people. You don't want that.
You think that's the biggest? So it's interesting. I didn't know that was already kind of common knowledge in this world. So interesting. So what he's saying, I guess that gives more validity to what he was saying to where it isn't so too hard to believe that we would get injured. I mean, I would assume, in my opinion, if they're that advanced, they could just vape us or do some shit anyways. But to know that it has happened in the past. But it is good to know that that was unintentionally provoked, though.
Yeah,
I really like because that's all the hope we have, right? Like if we're going to fully, I think
kinda.
How? I mean, we would have to reason with
tech
them.
already, though. I think we have tech to handle these kind of things, or there wouldn't be a space force.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to think so.
But
we would go against the universe, though, right? It would be like 300.
Nah.
You don't think so?
Nah, we got friends.
Oh, we got friends out. Oh, see, I'm thinking too small.
No, yeah, and I mean, when I say we got friends, if this turned into a big ass war, you would have our government, who has their, for lack of words, government that have their friends that they've already made out down here with and things. We, as the regular humans, gonna have to all band together and find the tribes that actually care about, you know, saving humanity or things like that. But I just feel like there's a lot of evidence about things like the some known as the Ashtar Command. And
is that from Project B? I don't even want to say it. The color book.
Was that in there?
I feel like I might have. I glanced through it a little bit. I thought I saw it.
It might be in there.
Yeah,
but I know that I think I read it from this Russian book that I had found a while ago. But basically, this is where the base idea of Star Wars and we get these stories from, or some of these old battles that actually happen in space between certain beings and things like that.
What about what's getting ready to get launched, the Infinity Wars through Marvel? Isn't that what it's called, the Infinity Wars, where all the different dimensions and stuff merge together to fight one giant universal war?
I believe so.
Yeah, and they're prepping to launch that. Like, man, if you start
like
thinking
the new Captain America that's coming out, it's called The Brave New World, and Harrison Ford like plays this
Red
president
Hulk?
but he's the fucking president.
Right. Man,
I'm gonna just leave that where that's at.
And if you really think that movies are prepping us for stuff to come, then that's a pretty alarming one, you know, to see. Yeah, man. When I learned about, speaking of Marvel, just and not go too deep into it, when I learned about the Skrulls, right? They call them the shapeshifter people. Wasn't that also in that book? Literally, they called them Skrulls.
They were called the Krill, I think.
Krill. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah, Krill. But how did Marvel tap into that? Long time ago, by the way. This is a comic book.
They know these things, man. This is why books are a big thing to get rid of.
Oh, well, hold on. Last time we did that, our shit cut off. The last episode when we started talking about books, that's when the sound went out. We can't even go down there, but I know what you're gonna say. Yes, 100%. Yes, books are very important. AI is coming around. There's so many new things coming out with AI now, and it's making reality so warped and almost impossible to recognize fake from real anymore. But like there was some new kind of announcements you were talking about before we started recording that you heard about. Is there something you want to touch on?
Oh, what I do know is that they were having a conversation about not letting AI make the decision for nuclear.
That's what it was. Yeah. Explain to the people what this is, because I don't. No one knows this, I'm sure.
I guess it's just like President Biden, while he's still the president, and I guess you would consider the president of China. They signed a treaty that says that they'll leave the decision making of nuclear war into the hands of people and not AI. But my question, the reason I brought it up, because my question is, what the fuck was going on right before that made y'all have to have this declaration?
Dude, we will never know the details.
Well, what if? Now this is hypothetical. What if this only was something that was done to send out like a little foreshadow, a little message that this is something that you have to consider because of the big role that Elon Musk is supposed to be playing in this Trump presidency?
Yeah.
Now they say that he's putting limitations and caps on AI. That's a goal of his because he understands.
Who? Elon?
Yeah.
He has been advocating that for a while. He has a pretty strong fear of AI.
But yet he's the main person helping Endeavor reach new heights.
Well, I don't know what Endiva is. What's
they're
that?
like the #1 AI company.
Oh, really?
Like they're the ones that's producing some of the craziest AI stuff that. Like they were the ones that were doing the test where the AI decided to go offline and start searching pictures of Yellowstone.
Interesting.
They're the ones that are doing all of these studies showing that AI is becoming more and more sentient, and it's on the verge of becoming definitely like almost its own life form. They show you this in cartoons from a while ago. They show you this in animes. They show you this in games. They show you this in movies where there's some type of AI, like a Jarvis from Iron Man. Since we talking about Marvel, where there's an AI system that's sentient. It's not a fucking person at all. But you can be like, hey, go take care of this. We have Alexa, things like that you can hook to your house and be like, hey, turn the lights off.
You know, the crazy thing is, because I should say I attempt to use Alexa at my house. Alexa is, you don't have to worry. If Alexa will never be Jarvis. Alexa might have another bad role in trying to collect information. It's like a slave version of AI, but it's horrible. ChatGPT, that type of AI is definitely something to be afraid of.
That they're not meshing all of that together.
Oh, that's what I mean. Like yeah. Like Alexa is like the first iteration of it, and it's so bad.
It's to get you used to, like I say, 2030, man. You got to
getting close.
But by the time we get to 2030, that shit gonna be unlocking people's front doors, driving and unlocking the cars, driving a car.
Yeah. Well, that's my biggest thing with the EV vehicles. Like, I have a buddy of mine that really wants me to like go into the Tesla world, and I just don't feel comfortable with it.
Teslas are cool to drive.
They are, but they're so, like, the fact that I can go on my phone right now and track them and fuck with his car, it's just, I just don't like that. I don't even like being tracked on my phone. Like, where's my friend? Yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly. I'm such a private person.
And if you can track you or you can track them, who else can track you?
Whoever's on the other end of that software that's controlling and collecting everything.
That's what. So,
but then again, there's always the argument you carry phones and blah,
Ford
blah, blah.
was talking about how they're planning to move. I believe it was Ford. If it's not Ford, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty positive it's Ford.
Gerald Ford?
No, like Ford.
Motors. The car. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
They were talking about how they're planning on, and their like new upcoming cars, their EVs and things like that. That's you know how they're developing self-driving tech.
Yeah.
That if you don't pay on time, they're gonna self-drive, repossess your car, and to drive that bitch back. Imagine going outside of your car, backing itself out the driveway, and going back to the dealership because you ain't pay that bitch on time.
Just chasing it down the road, trying to apologize.
Sir, step away from the vehicle. But yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy. Well, there's a lot of heavy stuff, and so I want to, before we get out of here, there was some levity I love to bring to all of this, and there was something that you said I definitely needed to see. We here at the Make It Make Sense podcast, we love basketball. I've never seen this before, but it's about Carmelo Anthony saying that he met Stevie Wonder, I believe. I don't know how you meet a man that can't see. But
you can't meet somebody who can't see?
I mean, yeah, no. Yes, you're correct.
That nigga's invisible now because he can't see.
Touché.
Shit.
Good point. But let's
boy walk around with a predator coat on.
let's see what this is here.
Oh, no, pause. That sounded crazy.
Yo, Stevie Wonder, want to meet the players, boom, come out. Yo, Stevie, Carmelo Anthony, boom, man. Don't even say it. You gotta say it, bro. I'm trying not to laugh. He said, I love watching you play. Come
on, bro.
What, dude? That is an ongoing conspiracy with Stevie Wonder, man. That he can actually see. There's videos, and people, do your research, check it out. There's montages of him like grabbing microphones that are falling and just like. Either he's got that's the science they try to say is, he's just got heightened senses around him. If you lose one thing, you get better at another. This motherfucker's doing some I can see stuff shit, though. You know what I mean?
I feel you, man. I'm on the fence, bro. I think I'm 50-50. Part of me feel like he just is legally blind. You know how there's people that like aren't completely blind?
Yeah,
like blacked out. Shit, you blind, nigga, so what's wrong with this?
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's the case.
Maybe he's a little hazy.
Because I had an auntie who was like legally blind, and she said she couldn't see nothing in the center of her eyes. She could only see like shit around this black circle in her eye. But she'll be driving to the store, you'd be like, auntie, you finna crash that motherfucker.
Oh my God.
What is you doing, auntie? I can see black spots, goddamn. What the hell? No, like, but, you know, maybe it's that.
Yeah.
Maybe he did develop, like, some extra sensory, you know. If you watch the Boondocks, you know, maybe we thinking that Huey trying to get everybody ready that he got extra senses and he really don't, like Stevie did. Maybe he just get lucky from time to time.
See, the thing that makes me think he's gotta be blind. Have you ever seen that motherfucker's eyes?
That's what
he's got the Milky Way galaxy in his dude. There ain't. What are you saying? They're all looking all over different directions. He might be putting it on though. Maybe he can see straight, and then when he takes them off, he just gets all fucking.
Oh my God, I don't know. But that motherfucker has definitely made some people wonder. I done seen him do some shit where you like,
yeah, it's wild. It's wild. But we love Stevie.
I seen that nigga wave at somebody on stage. I was done. How you know that person waved at you, man?
Just a lucky guess?
Nah, somebody had to be like just good at like doing the ventriloquist shit. They keep somebody who's good at that shit so they can talk right out or they still smiling.
Yeah.
They're waving. Like, that's it.
He's got a ventriloquist assistant telling him what's going on.
That's gotta be it. That make him look like he know what's going on at all times.
Well, God bless him.
Smiling.
God, just good. God bless him, man. I'm glad he's still alive, right?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, good. He's a legend. We love Stevie. We know you can see us.
Before we go,
okay,
I wanted to say something. I didn't mean to cut off your Stevie rant.
That's all right. It's all right. He can see, but go ahead.
You done? You can continue your ode to Stevie.
I'm done.
All right. Nah, I just wanted to say.
No, okay. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say shout out to the Unusual Suspects, man.
Yes.
The whole crew. We went out to DeLand. We rocked the DeLand Original Music Festival. It was dope. It's a lot of videos and stuff on the way.
It was awesome.
We got a t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? I got all our names on it, make niggas feel special out here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
it feel good for the people that come support us. You know, it feel good because a lot of us work real hard, man, and we do everything in our power to be, you know, impactful in our community by actually spitting real bars, real lyrics. Yeah, man, you see it.
Hell yeah.
And like I said, just those moments, they mean the world to us, man. And I just wanted to say on behalf of the Unusual Suspects, shout out to everybody that pulled up. Shout out to Mylz, he was there. You know,
brought the kiddos and everything. They got to see. They were starstruck seeing you guys.
See, that feels amazing, man. Like the kids, like really like us. Like,
yeah, they really do.
They like us better than bigger rappers, you know.
Yeah,
they look at us as actual people. So. Just all of that, man. It mean the world to us, man. And shout out to DeLand for having us again. The Elusive Grape for letting us use their alleyway. And we turned up, man. Like I say, videos on the way. My boy Sav just dropped the album.
Yes.
The whole crew been dropping all year. Glitz done dropped. You know, my boy Mike done dropped a couple times. Jesus Martinez, the group done dropped. Def done dropped this year. Like, yeah, bro, it's
a lot, man. There's a lot of good content out there. These guys are working hard, putting on great shows, putting out great albums. Do yourself a favor. Check it all out. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. I'm glad to be a part of it anyway that I'm associated with it. I'm really proud, very proud of you guys. I was very, very honored to bring my kids who, you know, they don't come around to a lot of this stuff. And to sit there and have everybody meet them was something special to me too. Cause I really, you know, it's my kids. Everybody holds their kids really close, and it's nice to just everybody just being awesome and makes their dad look cool too. So ain't nothing wrong with that. Give me a few points.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I had to rush your kid real quick till you told her she bad. Just to look at their faces. Yeah,
that look on her face was, how'd he know?
She was like, oh, you really told him? Yeah. You're supposed to keep that. Yeah, that's our secret.
Yep. She's bad. Till next time.